Okay, this is my audience, Arlette and Zach via FaceTime, and Devaney. And here you go. Ted, put that down. Okay, so for my speech, just kind of wanted to talk about a little bit about society and today, how society is just a really goal-driven society, and I think a lot of people have different goals that they strive for and different things that that they want to reach and different goals. And I just kind of want to talk about a little bit about the American dream, because that's I think that's a goal in today's society that's really prominent, and that's something that a lot of people strive for. And that just kind of being like just going to college, getting a degree, you know, getting good grades, having like a family, getting a good house in the suburbs, like also like, you know, working your way up in a business, making a lot of money, even going to school. A lot of people strive to be rich, or a lot of people strive to be famous, and that's like a goal a lot of people have. And I think that also in that goal, when people are working to get there, I think a lot of people also face like a lot of struggles, and people, those people that are, you know, going to work and trying to make a lot of money for their families and to like buy nice houses or have nice things, you know, they're the people that you hear like complaining a lot about, like, oh, I have to go into work on Monday, like Monday work's terrible, or, you know, just complaining about things like that. So, I mean, that's why for me, the American dream isn't really something that I strive for, because I don't think that that's what's most important for me. Okay, so for my speech, just as some of the sources that I use: crew.org, thoughtsanddesigns.com, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, the Bible, interviews with parents and coworkers. Okay, well, I'm Robyn Miller, which you probably know. Just my 3 main points for my speech would be: in all situations, I choose joy over anger or stress. And I choose to show love to others, and in all things I put God first, because I know that His plan is greater than my own. Okay, just my first part, talking about choosing joy over anger or stress, is something that I try to do. This quote by Stephen Covey says, "Look at the word responsibility. Responsibility, the ability to choose your response. Highly proactive people recognize that responsibility that is not something they have to blame on circumstances, conditions, or conditionings for their behavior. Their behavior is a product of their own conscious choice based on values rather than a product of their conscious based on feelings." I really like this quote, and I really think that it just has a lot of truth to it. It says like, that's something that we don't realize, something sometimes that I don't realize, is that we have a choice in our reactions to different situations that we're in, and whether it be a hard situation or not. I think a lot of people, you know, go into things thinking that with a negative attitude in different situations. In this verse right here, it says, "For anger is but a moment, and His favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may tarry for the night, but joy comes with the morning." This is just something also I think that goes in line with this quote when talking about just kind of our response to different situations. I think, I mean, it's just saying that we have this choice we can choose to be mad, we can be frustrated, we can have anger, and we have a choice to choose joy, or in here it says like anger is like an emotion that it's just temporary, and it's something that might just make things harder on yourself. And joy is an emotion that's eternal, and that's something that God can bring to you. So when I'm facing hard times, I'm just trying to choose to respond to situations with joy instead of anger. This is a quote by Mark Twain. It says, "Work and play are words used to describe the same thing under different situations." I really like this quote because I think it kind of changes the perspective of the workplace. I think a lot of people go into work thinking, you know, it's kind of a negative attitude, like, dang it, I have to go into work, I don't want to. And I think it's easy whenever I go into work, sometimes I see that people have, just kind of people are having a bad attitude, people having a bad day, and I think that really rubs off So it's hard for me to trying to have a good time when I go into work and everyone's kind of in a bad mood. So I try to change that perspective and think of work as something that, I can have fun while I'm doing, and that I can spend time with people that I can have fun with. Okay, next thing I was talking about is choosing love, to love other people in all situations. So I kind of interviewed some of my coworkers, just talked to them about, I asked, when you have to work with someone you don't like, how do you treat them and how does working with them affect you? One of my coworkers said whenever she has to work with certain people she usually gets in a bad mood or very frustrated because sometimes other people are really hard to work with, which is something that's really true. I mean, we're all going to be put in situations where that we have to work with people we don't like, whether it be at work or in school. It makes me think of working in group projects. Sometimes that can be really difficult, just trying to meet with people you don't know, and sometimes you get stuck doing all the work, and it's frustrating to have to do all of that, and sometimes it's easy to get mad at other people and get frustrated with them because you don't want to do all the work and they're not just kind of working with you. But I think it's important, even in situations like that, that we still show love to these people, and that even if we have to do things that we don't want to, that they'll notice the difference. And something that puts that into perspective for me is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is Luke 6:31, or the golden rule, which is something that people, I think you hear a lot. But it really just changes things for me. When people ask me to do something, a lot of the times I don't want to do it, but just having, thinking that mindset of what would I want this person to do for me, which just really changes things, and I think people see that difference, and I think a part of loving people is showing service, and I think putting their needs before your own is a big way of showing love to other people. Just in my own experience, talking about work a little bit, I work at Target, and I come into contact with a lot of people every day, and whether it be coworkers or whether it be people that are just coming into the store to shop, I just try and take every situation that I have with the people. If it's a guest in the store, just giving them my service and my time and my best ability of helping them, even if it's just showing them where something is in the store, or just treating them as I would want to be treated if I was just walking into a store. Also, working with coworkers, people I see every day. Sometimes it's hard to show love, and it's hard to work with other people that are difficult to work with. I've been working at Target. Whenever I first started working there, it was really hard for me to kind of talk to other people. I was really shy, and it was putting me in a situation where I wasn't really comfortable. So I really just kind of came to the realization that we're all different people, and we all come from different places, but we're all children of God, and that God chose to love us even when we didn't deserve it. So I should love everyone else even if they don't deserve it. Lastly, is talking about how I choose God's plan because I know that His is greater than my own. But Proverbs 16:9, it says, "The heart of man plans his ways, but the Lord establishes his steps." I think this is a good verse when it comes to putting God before myself. I think we all have our own desires in our heart, and what we desire in our heart is what we're going to chase after. And I think that since I have God in my heart and I want to chase God's desires instead of my own. And then I have some other verses talking about just kind of how I can choose my plan or God's plan, and sometimes it's hard to choose, why would you want to choose God's plan over your own plan or your own desires. But Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." I just kind of encouraging that God has a plan for us. And then in Habakkuk 1:5, it says, "Look at the nations and watch and be utterly amazed, for I'm going to do something in your time that you would not believe even if you were told." This is just, I think, is a really cool verse, just kind of saying that even if God were to tell us what He was going to do in our lives, so we might not even believe it because it would be that much greater than maybe that love plan that we had for ourselves. I think that just kind of really changes in my perspective of why I want to put my trust in God's plan and not my own. So just to sum it up, there's this quote here. It says, "I try to look on all the great things God's done and not focus on the negative." It's a perspective. I really like this quote, and I think it goes along with just kind of everything that I've talked about a little bit. I think we're all going to face hard times and come into difficult situations, and whether it be working with people or whether it be schoolwork or whatever that it is that we have to do. I think what he said here, even if God's not something that you believe in, I still think a matter of just changing your perspective and different things can really change just kind of like the mood of the situation. Like I said, like changing my perspective on putting others before myself, or choosing to show joy instead of anger because we have that choice. So just, I think if we all kind of just change this perspective, it would be just a lot easier and make things better.